Hey everyone, and welcome to this urgent Protect 30A explainer. Today we're zeroing in on District 4 to unpack exactly what build out at scale really means for our community, our daily commute, and our future. Look, if you want to understand why traffic on 30A feels like a parking lot lately, and why South Walton is changing before our very eyes, you absolutely have to look at District 4. It's the economic engine of our region for sure, but it's also the site of a massive collision. We're talking about a state-approved 50-year master plan colliding head-on with our fragile coastal dune lakes, a finite stretch of beach, and basically a single east-west highway. So let's dive right in and objectively lay out the realities of this massive development scale.
Let's kick things off with one absolutely massive number, 24,706. That is exactly how many residential units are legally approved to be built in Walton County alone under just one single company's master plan. To put that into perspective for you, this one approved plan essentially greenlights enough homes to double or even triple the year-round population of the communities currently served by the 38 corridor. Yeah, just let that sink in for a second.
Now you might be wondering, how on earth does growth on this kind of scale get approved in the first place? Well, it happens through something called the Bay-Walton Sector Plan. A sector plan is essentially a long-range, state-approved master plan. Think of it like a giant blueprint that maps out development over a very large area and a very long period of time. This specific agreement is driven by the St. Joe Company. It was approved back in 2015, and here's the kicker: it legally locks in these development rights all the way out to roughly the year 2064.
To really grasp the sheer magnitude here, we have to zoom out and look at the numbers across the entire region. Across both Bay and Walton counties, this sector plan covers a staggering 110,500 acres. At full build-out, it authorizes over 170,000 residential units region-wide, plus more than 22 million square feet of commercial space and over 3,000 hotel rooms. So our specific focus today, that Walton County portion of 24,706 units, is really just one slice of a truly monumental pie.
And listen, this isn't some distant, hypothetical future we're talking about. It's happening right now. Just look at the jump in St. Joe home sites under contract in the first quarter of the year. They skyrocketed from 952 in Q1 of 2025 to 3,204 in Q1 of 2026. That is a 236% increase in just 12 months. Plus, St. Joe recently signed a deal with Pulte Group for thousands more, feeding a total residential pipeline that now sits at roughly 23,500 active sites. The sheer momentum is just incredible. Now, to be completely fair to both sides here, we have to recognize the very real two-sided reality of our district. On one hand, this rapid development acts as a massive economic engine. It brings great jobs, a growing tax base that helps fund county services, and high-end amenities. But on the flip side, that economic engine collides directly with our physical geographic constraints, creating a severe infrastructure bottleneck. We're talking massive traffic delays, water supply concerns, and highly limited beach access. And the truth is, both of these realities exist at the exact same time.
Looking at the ledger objectively, there's just no denying that the development side is highly successful. The St. Joe Company is investing heavily and efficiently. In the full year of 2025 alone, they brought in over $500 million in total revenue, up 27%. Real estate revenue shot up 64% to over $234 million, while their hospitality arm hit record highs. And hey, this financial power is exactly what funds major local amenities, like the 98% leased Watersound Town Center, which is bringing great new shops, restaurants, and medical offices right to our doorstep.
They're also building diverse communities to meet different needs. Take Watersound Camp Creek, for example. It's a custom home community that intentionally restricts short-term rentals. In case you aren't familiar, a short-term rental is a home rented out for nights or weeks to vacationers, rather than lived in full-time by a resident. By restricting these, developers are actually providing a quieter neighborhood option for full-time residents who just want to live away from the heavy, constant rotation of the tourist crowds. But, okay, let's flip to the other side of the coin and look at the central, unavoidable tension of District 4. It's the geography problem. We essentially have one road in and one road out. That's the crux of it all. A single east-west corridor, US Highway 98. Whether it's the coastal towns popping up along 30A or the massive 3,700-home Latitude Margaritaville active adult community sitting inland near the airport, nearly all of this huge regional growth ultimately funnels right onto that same single highway. Engineers actually grade this funneling effect using something called level of service. It's basically a traffic engineering report card graded from A through F that measures how well a road handles its vehicle load. Right now, County Road 30A handles up to 10,000 vehicles a day and is operating at a level of service D.
In engineering terms, a D means it is heavily crowded, sluggish, and dangerously close to becoming outright deficient.
Because key segments of US 98 and surrounding roads are already operating way over their capacity, developers face a critical legal hurdle called concurrency. Concurrency is a Florida state rule that requires new developments to prove that local roads and infrastructure can actually handle the extra traffic they're going to generate before their projects get approved. The road math, quite literally, has to work out.
For everyday residents, though, this isn't just an abstract engineering grade or some math on a zoning map. It's a daily reality. Take this quote from a former 20-year resident of 30A who actually felt forced to move away. Quote, "There's only one east-west road. When an accident happens, the whole place shuts down." End quote. Residents are voicing real, documented fears about massive delays, losing affordability, and the erosion of the district's unique character.
This clash between scale and infrastructure is arguably most obvious down at the beach. Large, dense rental communities built slightly inland, like Prominence, need to get their guests to the sand. So, they often shuttle visitors to public access points like Seacrest and Seabreeze. However, Walton County has strictly designated those specific neighborhood accesses as no parking zones. This creates a severe squeeze where hundreds of day visitors arrive expecting infrastructure that simply isn't there, leading to a ton of frustration for the neighborhoods and the visitors alike.
And locals are actively mobilizing to defend the area's remaining character against this kind of scale. A perfect example is the recent clash over the Inlet Beach Neighborhood Plan. The established plan explicitly limits development in the area to a bed and breakfast with no more than 10 rooms. Yet a massive 75 to 125-room hotel was recently proposed at the 30th Avenue Shopping Center. That stark contrast sparked massive public workshops and direct opposition from county commissioners, really highlighting the parcel-by-parcel fight over what 38 should look like.
So what is the government actually doing to fix the traffic bottleneck? Well, the Florida Department of Transportation is currently running a PD&D study. That stands for Project Development and Environment Study. It's the massive, legally required planning and environmental review that absolutely has to happen before any major road project can begin. Right now, they are studying potentially widening 19.4 miles of US 98 from 4 lanes to 6.
But here is the harsh civic reality that every resident needs to know. While that PD&E study is moving along and might finish its paperwork by summer 2026, the actual construction for this US 98 expansion is currently completely unfunded, $0. Even if it were magically approved and funded tomorrow, experts say the physical widening of the road is realistically 8 to 10 years away from being completed.
And this right here is the dangerous imbalance we currently face in District 4. On one side, explosive, large-scale growth is fully approved, financed, and under construction today. We're talking the tens of thousands of homes, the new Publix, the massive town centers. But on the other side, the infrastructure required to actually survive all that growth, like the US 98 widening and the proposed South Walton Connector Road, is merely being studied for tomorrow.
But there's a real silver lining here. It is highly encouraging to know that approval for new projects is not an automatic rubber stamp. Earlier this year, the Board of County Commissioners proved they will listen to the road math. They unanimously voted down the 30A Surf Club commercial project specifically on those concurrency grounds we talked about, because the roads simply couldn't handle it. In that exact same week, they also denied the Blackstone PUD, preventing over 1,600 additional residential units. When the numbers don't add up, the Commission can and does say no.
So if you want to protect the character of District 4 and ensure smart growth, here is your specific call to action. First, actively track the finalization of the US 98 PD&E study coming up this summer. Second, persistently demand funding updates from state and local leaders for the South Walton Connector Road. And third, show up to the Board of County Commissioner meetings and firmly oppose any attempts by developers to get waivers around those critical concurrency rules. Your voice absolutely matters.
The numbers don't lie, folks, and the scale of the Bay-Walton sector plan is monumental. The economic benefits are absolutely real, but the strain on our single highway and fragile environment is undeniable. This leaves us with one vital question to answer together before the cement dries. If a 50-year master plan is built on infrastructure that is decades behind, what happens to the 30A we actually want to save? Stay informed, get involved, and let's shape that answer together.